about the Phoenix Suns a little bit. They got to be the biggest losers of this offseason and very likely going into the season. First off, they highly likely missed out on the chance of getting Kevin Durant by having to match DeAndre Ayton's contract. So therefore, any chances or hopes of Kevin Durant going to the Phoenix Suns are pretty much gone. I mean, it's not entirely possible, but it's extremely unlikely because they can't trade DeAndre Ayton until January. And not just that, he would have veto power in any trade for the rest of the season. So if he doesn't want to go to Brooklyn, then guess what? You can't trade him to Brooklyn. Like, what if he only wants to go to the Pacers? Then yeah, maybe you could do a swap and get Miles Turner, but who knows what the Pacers are going to do now? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it just becomes an absolute train wreck for the Phoenix Suns to ever potentially get a Kevin Durant to Phoenix. Not just that, but it looks more and more likely that Kevin Durant is going to stay with the Brooklyn Nets at least this season, and it just is not good for the Phoenix Suns. So they're basically standing pat and stuck with the team that they have. And now many people might be thinking, well, they're a great team. They were in the NBA Finals, 2 seasons ago. Yeah, they underperformed against Dallas, but hey, they could bounce right back and maybe, be in the NBA Finals again. But the biggest issue is DeAndre Ayton. He doesn't want to be there. He made it very clear he didn't want to be there. He basically quit on the team in Game 7. The Phoenix Suns made it very clear that they don't want him and they didn't want to keep him, but they had no choice but to match. They had to match him because they can't just let a 23-year-old, 2010 center just go for free for nothing. So they had no choice. Their hands were tied in obtaining him. And that could be a big problem because DeAndre Ayton has all these locker room issues and all of these problems, supposedly, based on reports from the Suns and stuff like that, and was the whole reason they wanted to get rid of DeAndre Ayton. You think that's not going to come back up during the season? I mean, the Phoenix Suns could absolutely implode this year. Now, I don't think that they're going to miss the playoffs or anything like that, but DeAndre Ayton can make things very difficult and can make things very challenging for the Phoenix Suns. Now, of course, he might come in and just be like, hey, I got this contract, I got this money, but his money's guaranteed regardless. He just signed the biggest sign sheet in NBA history. His money's locked. Is he going to want to risk injuries and things like that to not get traded to a destination that he wants to go to? The possibility of him still getting traded is very likely. It's just not going to happen till January. And so does DeAndre Ayton buy in between now and January? Because a lot of the teams, they're going to want to take him regardless because he's young enough, he's skilled enough, all that. We've seen people that are extremely talented that are just locker room headaches, and teams will still do whatever they can to go get them because they believe he won't be that way here. Especially the Indiana Pacers. Everybody knew about DeAndre Ayton's, locker room shambles and just all of the mess going on with the Phoenix Suns, and he still got offered a max contract by the Indiana Pacers because the Indiana Pacers want him. So even if you end up working out a trade deal come January, the market's going to be extremely limited for DeAndre Ayton, and it's very likely you're not going to get back much, if anything at all, for DeAndre Ayton because there's only going to be so many teams that want to take him. Now, if he does, again, buy in and he becomes that guy and he's that 2010 guy and he doesn't cause any headaches in the locker room, which I don't know, based on his track record, that's hard to believe, but if he does, then yeah, then maybe all will be right in the world with the Phoenix Suns. But it just feels like the Phoenix Suns are a ticking time bomb just waiting to go off. And DeAndre Ayton is that timer. And it's just like, when is he going to get fed up? When is it going to be that moment where he doesn't feel he's getting enough touches? And now he's, demanding touches and demanding this and that and the other. And it just becomes an absolute mess. Now, beyond that, you have Devin Booker, who is a great, solid guy. But is he a number one guy? I mean, before CP3, he wasn't even making the playoffs. CP3 is kind of the engine for that team. And CP3 is only getting older. He's already had injuries for the last several years, and it's very likely he's going to have more. If you lose CP3 for an extended period of time and DeAndre Ayton just doesn't want to play basketball for the Phoenix Suns and he's making things difficult, Phoenix could be in a very tough spot. Again, I just think they're too talented to not make the playoffs, but the Western Conference is extremely stacked, right? Especially if a team like the Lakers, if they end up getting Kyrie Irving, let's say, then there's another team that's going to have a playoff spot. I just could see them falling in the standings and just their season not going the way that they want to. I don't think that they're a contender anymore. And I know many Phoenix Suns fans may feel otherwise. I know many people might feel like they are, but many teams believe that their team is a contender when they're not. And it's just they already underperformed. They already showed that they don't have it to go to another finals. And yes, you could argue, yeah, it was one bad game, but that series, they were getting dominated across the board. I mean, you could have made an argument that they should have lost in 6 games rather than 7. I mean, it was one of those things where the Phoenix Suns didn't show up. They just didn't perform. And maybe it was DeAndre Ayton. Maybe it was the locker room drama. Maybe it was just all these factors that went into play that caused the underwhelming performance. But that means it's very likely that could happen again, and then nobody buys in. I mean, nobody showed up to that Game 7. The game was over by the end of the first quarter. No one seemed like they wanted to play. Nobody seemed like they were bought in. They got ran off their home court. It was a disaster for the Phoenix Suns. And it's like all signs point to that being the case again next year. Like, what's going to be different this year? The only difference is you have a guy in DeAndre Ayton who doesn't want to be there. And the Phoenix Suns don't want him. And so how do you mend that relationship? How do you fix that relationship to where DeAndre Ayton isn't just somebody that's just a locker room cancer and just destroying the Phoenix Suns from within? I just think that this has the potential to be an absolute mess for the Phoenix Suns. And I think that January could not come sooner for the Suns. You know, and they're a fun, exciting team to watch. Like, I would love to see DeAndre Ayton buy in because the Western Conference would be ridiculous. You know, I mean, especially if the Lakers get Kyrie. Imagine Golden State, Phoenix, the Clippers, and the Lakers, those 4 teams just battling, and just those playoff series would be incredible, would be intense. They would be so much fun to watch. That would be primetime basketball, right? But I just don't know if the Phoenix Suns are going to be able to do that. You know, CP3, you can't really count on him health-wise. Devin Booker, he's shown that he can't be that guy at times. He's inconsistent at times when they need him to be the most consistent. You know what you're getting from Devin Booker. And don't get me wrong, I love Devin Booker. I think he's great. But he's not, I don't see him as the number one option. I don't see him as like the guy that's going to lead you to a championship. You know, I mean, like I said, he didn't do anything until Chris Paul got there. And then he was that engine that got everything going, that was able to get everybody in position, that was able to get Booker in his spots, that was able to take over games in small stretches and spurts and stuff. We saw playoff games where Devin Booker wasn't the guy stepping up and taking over the game in the fourth quarter. It was Chris Paul. I mean, we saw games where the Suns should have lost, but Chris Paul went on a crazy 10-0 run by himself. Devin Booker couldn't throw a rock in the ocean. It's just, there's so many concerns and questions, I feel, with the Phoenix Suns, from Booker to CP3 and now DeAndre Ayton. You know, I don't know. I just feel like it's a recipe for disaster. And I hope it doesn't, because again, I would love to see them be one of the top teams in the league this year, because I just think that is going to be exciting for the NBA in the playoff time. You know, imagine a Phoenix Lakers series with Kyrie Irving. Like, that would be just a great, intense series. That'd be so much fun, especially if DeAndre Ayton is that 2010 guy for the Phoenix Suns. Like, it would just be fun to watch that interaction. Or like the Warriors and the Suns, like, see them battling it out. Like, that would be great. Or even the Clippers and the Suns. I don't know. I just don't believe in the Phoenix Suns this year. I just think that these 3 just have too many concerns, too many questions, and too many things that are just the writing's on the wall that it's going to just fall apart. Like, you know, they're basically in a chocolate house and it's 100 degrees outside. So you're just waiting for the walls to melt. Like, I don't know. But as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? How do you feel about the situation? Do you think the Phoenix Suns are the biggest losers of this offseason? You know, really believing that, you know, Kevin Durant was coming. I mean, Kevin Durant, the Phoenix Suns were the number one destination, right? Phoenix wanted Kevin Durant. They were willing to do whatever it took to get Kevin Durant. I mean, you had all the signs were like, Phoenix is going to get Kevin Durant. And then it just all fell apart. You know, house of cards came crumbling down. Chris Paul is only getting older. You know, and he's already has many questions about injuries and stuff. Devin Booker, like, can he be that guy? Can he be the number one guy that leads your team to a championship? You know, and then Ayton, is he going to buy in? Is he going to be a guy that's going to do that? And I understand many people are probably going to look at it as like, well, yeah, he wants to keep his value high. He wants to be able to go to other teams. Like, but he's already locked in. His money's guaranteed. You know, like, teams like Indiana Pacers, they're gonna want him regardless. And it would be more beneficial for a team like Indiana for him to just not be successful, just for him to implode the Suns, because now you're going to get a better deal. And your thinking is like, he gets to be the guy here. He's not the fourth option anymore. He's the first option, and you got a guy like Halliburton who, he's going to set him up nicely. And we have this duo for the next 10 years. Like that's more likely the case. But, do you feel the same way? Do you not? How do you feel about it? Let me know down in the comments. One last little shameless plug is I did start As It Stands Lakers. It is a channel just like this, dedicated to only the Lakers, because the Lakers are my favorite team. And on this channel, As It Stands, I talk about all teams, all sports, stuff like that. We have football season coming up, so I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. And I just wanted to make a dedicated channel to the Lakers to give the ins and outs. Now, all the big stuff, all the big news and stuff, I will still post here on this channel. But if you want all the ins and outs and just rumors and theories and just discussions just strictly on the Lakers, link down in the description or in the comment section. Go check out the channel, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot, lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.